Watch before deleted. I came inside my alien girlfriend from behind. The message appeared without warning. Across hidden networks, abandoned satellites, old trade relays, and pirate channels, the same words blinked into existence in bright red text. Watch before deleted, no sender name. No origin point. Just a countdown timer slowly ticking down. At first, most beings ignored it. The galaxy was full of illegal broadcasts and fake warnings, but this one was different. It bypassed filters that nothing else could. It slipped through Dominion firewalls that had not failed in centuries. And it appeared at the same moment everywhere. Curiosity spread faster than fear. When the timer reached 0, the screen changed. The video quality was rough, as if recorded on outdated equipment. The angle was wide, showing a massive hall made of black metal and glowing gold lines. Alien symbols floated in the air, shifting and changing shape. Rows of tall, armored figures filled the chamber. At the center of it all stood one small figure, a human. His name was Elias Cade, though almost no one watching knew that yet. He looked thin compared to the aliens around him. His hands were bound with glowing restraints. His clothes were torn and stained from travel and captivity. Still, he stood straight. The Virelian Dominion had chosen this hall for a reason. It was where conquered species were judged, where resistance leaders were broken in public, where fear was turned into law. At the highest platform sat the High Adjudicator, a towering being with 4 arms and a face that looked carved from stone. Its voice echoed through the hall, deep and cold. "Human," it said. "You stand before the Dominion accused of defiance, disruption, and unauthorized access to imperial systems." The human lifted his head. He did not look angry. He did not look afraid. He looked calm. "This tribunal," the adjudicator continued, "is being broadcast across Dominion space. Your people will see what happens when order is challenged." A low sound moved through the crowd. Amusement. Satisfaction. The Dominion believed in public lessons. Elias shifted his weight slightly, testing the restraints. They held firm. He sighed, then looked up toward one of the floating record drones. "Is this live?" he asked. The question caused a ripple of confusion. The adjudicator paused. "Yes, every major system is watching." Elias nodded slowly. "Good." That single word changed the room. Some of the armored figures leaned forward. Others tilted their heads. The human reaction was not what they expected. The adjudicator narrowed its eyes. "You are calm for someone about to be erased." Elias gave a small smile, not proud, not mocking, just certain. "You already erased us once," he said. "This is just the echo." The Dominion audience laughed. A weak species speaking big words. Humans had been discovered only 40 cycles ago. Their planet Earth had surrendered after a short conflict. Their fleets were scrap compared to Dominion warships. They were useful workers, nothing more. The adjudicator raised one arm, silencing the room. "Humanity surrendered," it said. "Your world is under Dominion protection. Your resistance is meaningless." Elias looked around the hall, then back to the drone. "Do you know why humans record everything?" he asked. The adjudicator frowned. "Answer the charges." Elias continued anyway. "Battles, meetings, failures, even our own mistakes. We save them all, not because we like the past, but because the future learns from it." The adjudicator signaled sharply. Pain surged through the restraints. Elias clenched his jaw but did not scream. "Silence," the adjudicator ordered. The crowd watched closely now. Elias took a slow breath. "You think this is a trial," he said quietly. "It's not." The adjudicator stood. "You overestimate your importance." Elias looked directly into the drone lens. "This video is not for you," he said. "It's for everyone else." That was when the first interruption happened. One of the floating symbols above the hall flickered, just for a moment. A minor glitch easily ignored, but Elias noticed. His smile widened slightly. The adjudicator raised its voice. "Human Elias Cade, you are found guilty. Your execution will, before that, Elias interrupted. "I have one request." The hall went silent again. The adjudicator stared at him. "You have no rights." "I know," Elias said, "but you want this to be memorable. Let me speak. 30 seconds." The Dominion loved displays of dominance, and 30 seconds meant nothing. "Granted," the adjudicator said. "Speak your last words." Elias straightened despite the restraints. "People of the Dominion," he began, his voice steady, "you conquered humanity by force. But you never asked why we stopped fighting so quickly," murmurs spread. "We looked at your fleets," Elias continued, "your supply lines, your laws, your systems, and we realized something." The symbols above the hall flickered again, longer this time. "You built an empire that assumes silence," Elias said. "That assumes no one is watching closely." The adjudicator stepped forward. "Enough!" Elias raised his voice. "You broadcast this to show your power, but power that must hide truth is already afraid." Suddenly the video stuttered. Static tore across the screen for those watching from afar. The image froze on Elias' face. Then the feed cut. Across the galaxy, screens went dark for exactly 3 seconds. Then the video came back clearer than before. But now something was different. A small line of text appeared in the corner of the screen, unnoticed by the Dominion audience but very visible to everyone else. Mirror 1 of 12,487, the Dominion did not see it, but millions of others did. The adjudicator roared in anger. "Cut the feed," technicians rushed. Systems refused commands, drones drifted out of formation. Elias laughed softly. "You should have deleted it faster," he said. The restraints around his wrists powered down, just for a moment, long enough for Elias to move. He did not attack. He did not run. He simply stepped forward and spoke one last sentence before the guards rushed him. "You didn't conquer humanity," he said. "You invited us inside." The feed cut again. This time it stayed dark. In the tribunal hall, order was restored. Elias was dragged away. The adjudicator declared the incident contained. The Dominion believed the message had been erased. They were wrong. Across the galaxy, hidden copies multiplied, translated, shared, saved. The warning text appeared again on countless screens, "Watch before deleted." And for the first time in centuries, the Virelian Dominion felt something unfamiliar. Not anger, not confusion, fear. The Virelian Dominion declared the incident resolved. Within 1 hour of the tribunal broadcast, official messages spread across imperial space. The human named Elias Cade had been silenced. The illegal feed had been erased. Order had been restored. At least that was the story. Inside Dominion control centers, something felt wrong. Data officers stared at their screens, confused by reports that did not match reality. Network monitors showed no breaches, yet traffic patterns were spiking. Old relay stations, long considered useless, were suddenly active. The Dominion did not panic easily. It had ruled the stars for centuries. Problems were handled with commands, and commands were obeyed. But this problem did not listen. Far from the black metal tribunal hall, on a quiet trade station orbiting a yellow dwarf star, a small group gathered around a flickering screen. The station was neutral ground, home to dozens of species that survived by staying unnoticed. The screen showed the same warning again. Watch before deleted. The video resumed where it had ended, but now there was more. The image of Elias Cade appeared, seated alone in a dim room. His hands were no longer bound, but his face showed signs of exhaustion. Still, his eyes were sharp. This was not a recording from the tribunal. This was something else. Elias looked directly into the camera as if he knew exactly who would be watching. "If you're seeing this," he said calmly, "then the Dominion failed to stop it." Across the galaxy, countless beings leaned closer to their screens. "This message isn't an attack," Elias continued. "It's a record. Humans believe records matter." Behind him, faint shapes moved, screens, data lines, maps of star systems. They were blurred, but the scale was clear. I want to explain why humanity surrendered so fast, he said. The Dominion had mocked that surrender. Earth's fleets had stood down. Human governments had signed compliance treaties. The war had ended before it truly began. Elias continued, "We knew we couldn't win a direct fight. You were stronger, bigger, faster." He paused. "So we didn't fight the way you expected." The video cut briefly, then returned with a simple star map. A single line appeared, connecting points across Dominion space. "These are your supply routes," Elias said. "Fuel, food, spare parts. You built them for efficiency, not resilience." As he spoke, small markers blinked along the routes. Numbers appeared, dates. "This one failed 3 cycles ago," Elias said, pointing. "You blamed a solar storm." It was. On a distant Dominion world, a logistics officer froze. The date was correct. The report had been classified. Elias kept going. "Humans work well in quiet places," he said. "Warehouses, maintenance decks, data review offices." The screen showed images now. Humans in plain uniforms, moving crates, checking terminals, cleaning corridors. Ordinary work. "No one notices workers who fix things," Elias said. "That's why you let us everywhere." Across the galaxy, species that had lived under Dominion rule felt something shift. Humans had been everywhere, helpful, polite, silent. "We watched," Elias said. "We listened. We learned how your empire breathes." The video paused again. Then the warning text flashed, copying. In a Dominion command hub, alarms finally began to sound. "This is impossible," a systems commander said, staring at his console. "The source keeps moving." "Shut down external links," another ordered. "They're already shut down," came the reply. "It's internal now." The Dominion realized the truth too late. The video was not being sent from one place. It was being shared by thousands. On the screen, Elias leaned forward. "You call us weak," he said, "but weakness teaches patience." A new image appeared, this one showing a Dominion fleet dock. A small delay counter ticked upward. "This fleet is grounded," Elias said. "Not forever, just long enough." Elsewhere, a factory slowed. A communications array dropped a few seconds behind. Nothing dramatic, nothing obvious, but small delays stacked like stones. In the neutral trade station, the viewers whispered among themselves. "This is real," one said. "Those routes, my people use them too." Elias' voice softened. "We didn't plan to rule," he said. "We planned to survive." The video cut again, returning to Elias in the dim room. "By now," he said, "the Dominion is calling this lies. They always do." As if on cue, Dominion emergency broadcasts began overlaying the feed, trying to drown it out with official statements. But the human video adjusted automatically, shifting frequencies, slipping between channels. Elias smiled faintly. "You see," he said, "we expected that." Another pause. Then his tone changed, not proud, not angry, serious. "This is where my part ends," Elias said. "They will come for me." The camera shook slightly, as if the room around him trembled. "But the system does not need me anymore." The screen filled with symbols, human code, Dominion language, and dozens of others blended together. "We shared everything," Elias said. "Not weapons, knowledge." Across the galaxy, oppressed species began receiving files, not instructions to fight, but instructions to understand, logistics models, communication maps, predictions of Dominion responses. Elias leaned back. "You taught us that control is power," he said. "We learned it well." The video quality dropped suddenly. Heavy footsteps echoed faintly in the background. Elias looked off to the side, listening. "They're here," he said calmly. The warning text appeared again, larger now. "Watch before deleted." Elias looked back at the camera one last time. "This isn't revenge," he said. "It's balance." The door behind him burst open. The screen went black. Across Dominion space, silence followed. Then the effects began to show. Ships waited longer for orders. Supplies arrived late. Local governors argued with Central Command as instructions conflicted. Nothing collapsed, but nothing worked smoothly anymore. For the first time, the Dominion had to react instead of command. In a dark chamber far from public view, the High Adjudicator watched reports scroll endlessly. "Find him," it ordered. "Erase every trace." An aide hesitated. "The copies, they're still spreading." The Adjudicator's claws tightened. "Then erase the idea of him," it said. But ideas were harder to kill than people. Across the galaxy, beings replayed the video, studied it, shared it quietly. The warning text remained. Watch before deleted, and the Dominion, ruler of 1,000 systems, began to feel the weight of something new. Not open rebellion, not war, but observation. And it terrified them. The Virelian Dominion did not forgive. For centuries, forgiveness had been unnecessary. Rebellion was crushed. Dissent vanished. Fear kept the empire clean and quiet. But now fear was spreading in the wrong direction. In the highest command chamber, where stars were displayed as glowing points of light, Dominion leaders gathered in silence. Reports floated in the air, red symbols flashing beside them. Delayed fleets, missed supply drops, conflicting orders, systems that obeyed slowly. "This is not coincidence," the High Adjudicator said coldly. "This is war." A commander stepped forward. "The humans have no fleets that can challenge us." The Adjudicator's eyes narrowed. "Then why are we reacting instead of commanding?" No one answered. The Dominion made a decision. They would remind the galaxy what real power looked like. Orders were sent, not quiet ones, loud ones. 3 extermination fleets were activated. Their target was clear: Earth. The message was meant to be seen by everyone. Across Imperial space, Dominion broadcasts interrupted all channels. "Humanity has violated Dominion law," the voice announced. "Their homeworld will be cleansed to restore order." On Earth, alarms echoed across cities. Human leaders had expected this moment. Still, the sound made hearts race. In underground command centers, officers studied incoming data. Dominion fleets were moving faster than predicted. "They're angry," one analyst said. A woman at the center table nodded. "That means they're not thinking clearly." Earth did not prepare for battle. There were no fleets launching to meet the enemy. No heroic last stand in space. Instead, messages were sent. Quiet ones. Across the galaxy, small signals reached places the Dominion rarely watched. Mining colonies, trade hubs, border worlds. The same message appeared again. Watch before deleted, but this time it was Elia's Cade on the screen. It was data. Clear. Simple. Undeniable. Timelines showing how Dominion fleets depended on shared supply points. Predictions of how command delays would grow under pressure. And one final line: "You are not alone." On a distant moon, a species that had served the Dominion for generations watched silently. Their leaders had always obeyed. Now they hesitated. "What happens if Earth falls?" one asked. Another answered quietly. "Then this will be erased." The Dominion fleets pushed forward. Then the first fleet slowed, not stopped, just slowed. A refueling station reported a systems error. Backup systems activated, but those ran at lower efficiency. Command ordered them to proceed anyway. The second fleet experienced communications lag. Orders arrived out of sequence. Formation drifted slightly. Nothing dramatic, nothing worth stopping for, but time passed. On Earth, human analysts watched the data streams. "It's working," someone whispered. The third fleet never reached jump speed. A supply convoy meant to meet them was delayed by a customs lockout on a neutral world. The Dominion demanded immediate clearance. The neutral world refused, for the first time in its history. The High Adjudicator slammed a claw into the air console. "Execute the human," it ordered. Now. Deep within a Dominion security facility, Elias Cade sat alone in a narrow room. The walls hummed softly. The air was cold. He had known this moment would come. A guard entered, weapon raised. "You are sentenced to deletion," the guard said. Elias nodded. "I figured." The guard hesitated. "You don't look afraid." Elias smiled faintly. "I already did what I came to do." The guard turned away. Moments later, the room filled with white light. Across the galaxy, something happened. Every system that had received Elia's data activated a final protocol. Not an attack, a release. Information flooded open channels, Dominion secrets, resource hoarding. Historical records of erased species, truth spilled everywhere. On Dominion core worlds, citizens watched in shock as their own history changed in real time. This is false, officials claimed, but the data matched archived records, matched memories, matched scars. On Earth, a quiet signal confirmed what everyone already knew. Elia's Cade was gone. No cheers followed, only silence. Then work resumed. The extermination fleets never reached Earth. One turned back after running out of fuel sooner than planned. Another fractured when local commanders began arguing over authority. The third was surrounded, not by human ships but by former Dominion allies who had decided to stop obeying. The galaxy had crossed a line. The Dominion tried to regain control. They tightened laws, cut communications, arrested governors, but the systems resisted. They were too connected now, too aware. In the High Adjudicator's chamber, reports turned from red to black, systems unresponsive, orders ignored. An aide spoke quietly. "The humans are not attacking us." The Adjudicator stared at the star map. "No," it said slowly, "they are letting us fall." Across the stars, beings spoke Elia's name in whispers, not as a hero, not as a ruler, as a warning. On Earth, a final message was broadcast, simple, unmarked. "We did not win," it said. "We endured." The Dominion still existed, but it was no longer absolute, and everyone knew it was only a matter of time. The warning appeared again, one last time, spreading into the dark. "Watch before deleted because the final part was coming." And the galaxy was watching. The Virelian Dominion did not fall in a single day. Empires rarely did. They cracked slowly like ice under quiet pressure. Weeks after the failed attack on Earth, the Dominion still claimed control. Official broadcasts continued. Flags still flew above core worlds. Laws were still announced, but fewer beings listened. Across former Dominion space, local governors delayed responses. Some stopped responding at all. Trade routes shifted without permission. Patrol fleets waited for orders that never came. Control had become a suggestion. In the High Adjudicator's chamber, the star map looked different now. Where once it glowed bright and steady, now many systems pulsed weakly or flickered out completely. "Restore the network," the Adjudicator demanded. An aide lowered their head. "We cannot," the subsystems refused centralized commands. The Adjudicator's voice dropped. "Machines do not refuse." "They do," the aide said carefully, "because the humans taught others how to ask questions of them." That was the heart of it. Humans had not destroyed the Dominion systems, they had explained them. Once others understood how the Empire worked, it lost its mystery. And without mystery, fear faded. On Earth, life continued. Cities were not burning. Skies were not filled with enemy ships. Children still went to school, markets still opened. But something had changed. Human leaders met openly with other species now, not as rulers, not as commanders, as equals. In one such meeting, a representative from a former Dominion labor world spoke quietly. "You could take control," they said. "You know the systems better than anyone." The human delegate shook her head. "That's not what this was for," she replied. "Then why do it?" the representative asked. She thought of Elia's Cade. "Because someone had to say no," she said. Far away on a Dominion core world, crowds gathered in silence. Large screens showed old records, now public, of erased cultures, hidden famines, and quiet executions. Citizens watched, stunned. "All this time," one whispered, "we didn't know." Another answered, "Or we didn't want to." The Dominion tried one last act of strength. A declaration was issued. "The Virelian Dominion will endure," it announced. "All systems must reaffirm loyalty." The message was broadcast everywhere. For a long moment there was no response. Then one by one systems replied, not with rebellion, with resignation. Messages appeared, "We choose self-rule." The High Adjudicator watched the confirmations fade. "This is because of one human," it said. An older advisor shook their head. "No, this is because of many who were ready." The Adjudicator was silent. In a quiet archive on Earth, a human technician watched a familiar warning appear one last time on a private screen. Watch before deleted. He hesitated, then opened it. The video was short. Elias Cade appeared, younger than before, seated in natural light. This was clearly recorded long before his capture. "If you're seeing this," Elias said, "then the story is almost over." He smiled gently. "I want to be clear about something," he continued. "This was never about defeating an empire." The image shifted to stars seen through a ship window. "Empires rise when people believe they are small," Elias said. "They fall when people realize they are not." The technician felt his throat tighten. Elias looked directly into the camera. "Humanity doesn't need to rule," he said. "We just need to remember." The video ended. No warning text followed, no countdown. It did not delete itself. Across the galaxy, historians began documenting the collapse of the Dominion, not as a war, not as a revolution. As an awakening, new alliances formed, old borders dissolved, some worlds struggled, others flourished. Humanity did not place flags on conquered planets. Instead, they shared advisors, teachers, engineers. Some species welcomed them, others kept their distance. Humans accepted both. Years passed. Children across many worlds studied the same case in their schools. Not a battle, a broadcast. The lesson was simple: power that cannot be questioned will always fear those who ask. In a rebuilt hall on a former Dominion world, a plaque was placed. It carried no symbols, no empire seal, only words: Elias Cade. It was not a threat, not a greeting, just a small packet of data repeating softly. "Watch before deleted." The beings studied it carefully. They did not know who sent it, but they understood the meaning, and they watched.